Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to lesson 11-1. We're in the Envision textbook, page 417. Our lesson today is reading line plots. I can interpret data using line plots. Let's start up with the solve and share. Emily went fishing. She plotted the lengths of 12 fish caught on the line plot shown below. What was the length of the longest fish caught? What was the length of the shortest fish caught? So let's take a look at this line plot. First of all, what is a line plot? A line plot is simply a number line where above the number line we plot data. Data are pieces of information that we collect. Below on the line plot is the set of numbers that represent a scale. So this scale ranges from 6 inches to 8 2/4 inches. If we notice the distance from the 6 to the 7, or the number of jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 4, so each jump is going to be 1/4. So if we start at 6, the next will be 6 1/4, 6 2/4, 6 3/4, and so on. We're adding a fourth each time. So this is our scale. These dots represent the length of the fish caught in inches. So 1 dot would mean 1 fish caught at 6 1/4 inches. 2 dots mean that there were 2 fish caught at 6 3/4 inches. No dots mean that they did not catch any fish that were 6 inches long, or 7 1/4, or 8. 3 dots, of course, would mean 3 fish were caught at the size of 8 1/4. So looking at this line plot and going back to our questions, what was the length of the longest fish caught? Our shortest length, remember, are always to the left on a number line, is the smallest or shortest number, and then it increases. So we go all the way over to the right. The farthest we go is 8 2/4. There is 1 dot, so that means 1 fish was caught at 8 2/4 inches, and that would be the longest fish caught. Likewise, going back the other direction, we go all the way to the left. We see our lowest number is a 6, or the shortest. However, there are no dots. So the shortest fish was not 6 inches. We look for the first dot furthest to the left. Our shortest fish was 6 1/4 inches. Okay, so we will be using number lines to represent line plots. Line plots, again, occur when we note data above the number line using dots, sometimes X's. We will leave page 418 for you to review when you watch the visual learning video following this video. So looking at page 419, we're going to skip number 1 because it does go along with the previous page that we're not going to review at this time. Looking at number 2, if a line plot represented 10 pieces of data, how many dots would it have? Now remember, I mentioned to you that these dots each represent 1 piece of data. So if there are 10 dots, we are representing if we have 10 pieces of data, we would have 10 dots, 1 for each piece of data. If we go back to our first example, how many fish were caught? We would just count the number of dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we were told that at the start, that 12 fish were caught. So each one gets its own dot. And that's why you see multiple dots in one length, because each is representing 1 piece of data. So let's look at 3 through 5. We're going to use this line plot below, giraffe heights. Our giraffe heights vary from 14 inches, we're going by half inches, all the way up to 16 inches. So our first question is, how many giraffes are 14 feet tall? So we look at the 14, we go above the 14 to look at how many dots we have. That means that there were two, because we count 2 dots, 2 giraffes that were 14 feet tall. What is the most common height? So we look for the number on the scale that has the most dots above it, and that would be 14.5. 1, 2, 3. So the most common height is found where we see the most dots, and that would be 14.5 feet in this instance. It's always important to use your units. Include your units in your answers. How tall is the tallest giraffe? Remember, we have our smallest number here, or the shortest giraffe would be to the left. Our tallest or longest would be over to the right, so our tallest would be 16 feet. Now you get to practice after you watch the visual learning video and follow along on page 418 in Vision. You'll come back to this and you will do 6 through 10 using this line plot on times for 100-meter sprint. Remember, I told you that the dots could also be represented as X's. This X is the same thing as a dot up here. One piece of data, each X. So in this, we'll count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This line plot represents 20 pieces of data. Each one of these X's represents the number of seconds that it took for a 100-meter sprint. You are also going to do the assessment practice problems on page 420, numbers 15 and 16. And you'll use this line plot here, Nails in Ed's Toolbox. Always remember to read the title, look at to see what units, and include your units again in your answers. So this one is inches, because each of the nails is going to be measured in inches from 3/4 of an inch all the way up to 2 1/4 inches. Of course, it's multiple choice, and you will just choose one answer for each, unless it says choose all, which these don't.